Alright, hello guys. So tonight we're gonna be looking at a model from the community. This is the Dragon Knight set by Jura Knight. We're gonna help him fix up some of the edge loops and some problems that the mesh has right now, so he can learn a little bit from that, and hopefully the community can as well. So here's his current model, Dragon Knight. And let's just separate this stuff. Have a color real quick so plan to look at. So this is Jirai's model that he posted on the forums at LiveWorkshop.com. So we're asked him for his model, so we can do a quick broadcast and show everybody how we can maybe fix some of the edge work and the loops, and some of the model stuff and some errors that I think everybody can learn from. So here's the current model, and right now there's some slight problems with the edge flow. So you're getting some weird corners in some places, some flat areas. The top view you're missing, some of that roundness as well. But we're gonna fix all those issues right now, as well as having polygons underneath polygons. So that's gonna both cost us UV space and quite a few polygons that we can use elsewhere. Because the poly count for this guy, Jirai was telling me, is 800 for the LOD1 for the entire shoulders, chest area. And this guy's at 700 already. I think we can lower that at the same time and add more polys to the important areas. Hi Dota. Hello Journey. Alright, so let's grab this guy, and got like a second spike going on. We're gonna delete that and we'll fix it up. We'll bring that stuff back in, but we don't need all these polys in here. That stuff we can do with the texture, like this line, and that's actually costing us quite a few polygons, especially because it's beveled. So every one of those is 6 polygons each edge loop. 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6. Way too many polys for that little detail. We can do the normal amount. So we'll do this one again, but we'll use all these polygons over here to make it nice, higher polygon up here, which is the part you're gonna see. Oh, delete that. And let's start fixing these edge loops first. Whoops. See, already even in this view, you can start seeing, whoops, whoa, F1, don't hit F1. You can see our edge flow is way cleaner. And out of that edge flow that we're fixing, we already got, you know, a much rounder area here with the same amount of polygons. Now this part we're seeing from the top was getting quite flat here. And actually, because of all the polygons we're going to save, we can start adding polygons down here. These guys and pull them out. Actually see them from the top view much better. Oh. Keep checking the game view all the time as you're building these polygons. Help you out a lot. Another edge loop over here as well. Let's see what. This is community member Dragon Knight said that we're helping him with. We're gonna review it and we're gonna do a little bit of tutoring at the same time. So that's what this stream is tonight. Let's save this before our progress. Let's save it. Also save it with our pudge stuff. Bark Squad, sorry man, yeah this isn't mine, but Dragon Knight will finish it up. We'll just give him a little bit of a hand here. I guess Jura wanted more of like a curve, you know, along a lot of these pieces, so let's try and add some of that curvy stuff back. And we're gonna lower this guys a little bit so that dragon horns or dragon teeth shine a little bit better. And one thing I was telling him earlier as well was changing the scale of some of these guys so that they look a bit more diverse. You know, like not all of these need to have a huge base either, so that's another way to making them a little bit different from one another. Alright, I think it's getting a bit of a more interesting shape already. Let's separate these guys so I can move across them easier as I model, instead of having to reselect them every time. There we go, they're all separate now, see? Gonna freeze our work and save. This guy can benefit from skinnier. All these should probably be closed as well, since we're going to be saving some polygons. Close those guys up, and we're going to about there. Like a little. And then force some of these edges so that the engine knows exactly where you want those edges. Otherwise, if you don't paint them in there, Dota 2's engine will just do whatever it wants. Every program, every engine will do a different edge loops. You don't draw them in yourself. Or low poly stuff, at least, is important. You're right, you have 8 gigs of RAM? And that's not... yeah, it's terrible. Need all these ones so deep into the model. Yeah, you see you have some floating polys over here. But they're doing you any good either. Right now I'm just cutting away some polygons. Instead of having to move them all individually, I just kind of like guesstimate where my edge loop is in there, and I cut across. So then you can just grab these guys and delete them like that. Bam. See, and now we have, because all those things were inside the mesh before, you're wasting all that UV space, you know, all those pixels. So now by not wasting those, we can actually use all that space, you know, multiplied by everything else. You know, if we do this tightly across the model, you'll have way more space into UV map to create higher resolution textures, and in the end have your model look that much better. So where I would spend another edge loop. Oh, one's looking a little better. Right now we're just gonna check out our edge loop and make sure that we have a really nice smooth flow going with all of them. I'll fix it up a bit more. On over here. Pretty low. Stick out more. I have this guy turned quite a bit as well. I want this guy's to be indent. Gonna be our top. We can actually turn this guy. Got a really hash turn up here, dude. Oh no, I'm back here. Edges up. What you want to do is use these edges where the turn happens. Not you don't want them to be evenly across the whole thing because you're just wasting those edge loops. So if you have them down where the curves are, then you start seeing, you know, they're faking that it has more polygons than it actually has. I think we can make this curve even stronger. Give that a shot. Oh, that's We're gonna exaggerate this stuff quite a bit, and Jirai can then decide what he wants to do with it. But we're just giving him suggestions with this video model. Okay, so contrast this edge stuff, make it seem more apparent in game. We're gonna push him a little bit closer, so we get more of a harsher normal. Across both of those guys, especially since we want to add another little flap up here that he had before. Edge loop's getting pretty dirty up here. We're definitely gonna need another edge loop up here. This one. I get in there since you won't really see that ugly triangle underneath the bones. Okay. Sure, we need this edge loop. There's some polys. When you wanted a curve to be this way. You wanted more of a pointy top here. Try this. Our edge loop up here. Fix them off. And what you can do too, right now we have like a pretty, like the same thickness across the entire edge. What we can do is we can make it thinner towards the bottom edge here. That might look pretty good too. Then we can have it scale out as it goes. Still way messy, but let's just concentrate on the front right now. You have any questions, Jirai, or anybody else? Anything that's going on? No questions yet? Okay, good. We're gonna duplicate the bone that we did earlier because we had some edge loops already added to it, and we'll just place it on top of the dude. We'll have to redo those edge loops, and then we'll just modify this guy again. That guy. Keep that cool angle that we had going on before. That guy. Start fixing new. We don't want to overlap it too much. Sure that it cut into the other bone. It will be less pointy. I have to add a bit of another edge loop here. Yeah, this guy's getting pretty low poly. And we need to make a new bone. Let's make a new bone. We'll keep it in there for reference though. Like this angle, yeah. But yeah, quite a bit off on it. Right now our edge loops, everything looks nice and neat. I think we need another edge loop over here. We just clean up our edge loop. Now I think we can make the back stand out way better, and we'll give a heavier volume and weight to the back. I think that'll look good on this guy. Let's try it out. I guess I'll move him out of the way for a second. See, we're creating this curve that kind of like angles, you know, into his back. Gonna look pretty dynamic, I think. Something really unique. You know, it's basically we're turning the entire piece kind of like this, in this direction. Because that's actually what we're doing with our horns, or whoops, our dragon teeth. So if we make the underneath piece do that as well, it's gonna have, you know, that really nice flow across the whole model. It's gonna help both of those things at the same time. For everybody that just joined the channel, welcome to the LiveWorkshop. This is community member Jura Knight's model that we are helping tutor and suggest some fixes for his model so that he can continue on with it later on and hopefully learn some tricks and maybe help him get into the workshop or into the game. Oh, I think I just completely messed one up, but that's gotta remake it. Get a nice curve going across the entire piece here. And I think Jura wanted more of a little pointy end over here. Let's see what. Add another edge there to kind of bring it back a bit. Or, guys, so that that peak that we just created comes back in. A bit more note. This is soft image, guys, the people asking on the chat. What do you think, Jura? Do you want it to be smooth like we had it before, or more of a pointy push that bit, to be honest. And quite flat back here as well. We can make them thinner as they get to the bottom too. That they seem thicker and more heavy on the top. We want shoulder piece. Those shoulders for Dragon Knight. But Jura says pointy, so let's go with pointy. I think we're getting a bit of a good shape there. So what we're trying to do as well is, you know, kind of like mimic the helmet, you know, design. We want repeating elements across the entire model so that it all feels like one design. So I think for the helmet we'll kind of edit some of these guys too, so that we get the same kind of feel. I think right off the bat, probably one more space between these guys. More noticeable in game, you know, that space between them and whatever lighting we bake under there. The shadows baked in there with the embedded occlusion mask. Alright, well let's not jump onto the helmet right now. I get distracted. let's concentrate on the shoulder piece. I think we can add more. Get that heaviness we were talking about back on the front as well. I think we're getting way too pointy. Try this a little bit pointy. Want that tip to kind of like flare out a little. You know? Like crazy. We're gonna need another edge loop right there. A little one. Not that many polys. Safe. Yeah, see that? That feels more together. We're getting some of the nice curves, but we're keeping it pretty strong and thick. I think we can move down these, make the bottom a bit round. No, up here they're not making that much a difference. Move them down here and actually use them to create a rounder bottom. We have really nice edge loops now. Is the resolution 1020 or sorry, 1080p too strong for you guys? Yeah, I'm not a premium member or sponsor yet with Twitch, so I can't provide options for you guys to change the resolution. Hopefully soon that'll happen. Sorry about that, guys. Ooh, these edge loops are fun. We want to kind of like how they're sticking out there, but this loop kind of off. Still not quite the greatest. But yeah, the trick is to keep rotating around and check it from all the angles and see those edge loops really shine, you know, in every instance. Don't get too attached to one angle. This is these are 3D models, so it's all about volume, guys. Count. Let's see before that was what we need to do is for each half we want to stay under 400 because both of them will obviously add up to 800. So as long as we're under 400 for our one half, we'll be okay. And check it out, we're at 200 polygons right now, 205, and before we're at 347. Now, given that I haven't done the second flap yet, we're still going to be way under, so we'll be able to add more polygons to edges or any extra ones that we want to create for the horns, or maybe something extra in the bottom, I don't know. Always nice to have extra polygons. Alright, I think our horn got deleted somehow, our second one. That's okay, let's make a new one. And we'll make it from a cylinder, I think. Okay. Our bone color. Oops. Options back up. How many sides did we? This guy. 6. That was not enough. I have 8 now. 8 will probably do it. Okay. I think 8 should do it. Go with 8. Put it up, maybe, what do we got before? 1, 2, 4. Maybe 3 will delete those bits. And gonna be too many polygons up here, so start merging. Thickness that we want. Oh yay. Okay. Okay. And we'll just give that curve. Pretty cool curve that I had before in his map. Rotate it here. I'm gonna flatten it up. We'll just mess around with this. As he said, that it reminds me of Shredder a little bit from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And yeah, he's kind of right. He's got the long mouthpiece and spikies here and there. So Joy, were you thinking these were teeth or these were claws from a dragon? Kind of help me model these horns or teeth a little bit different depending on what you want them to be. Oh, you're thinking these guys were huge scales? Oh wow. Those are gonna be really big and flat in that case. Should go with. Go with it. Oh, you want to go with teeth? Alright, man, yeah, that's a good idea. We should go with teeth. Cool. I actually have quite a bit of experience making some of these horns. I did the horns for Darth Maul in our Force Unleashed game for Star Wars. I spent quite a bit of time making, making some horns and pointy little curves around them and whatnot. I think they're pretty decent. Are you already dead? It's asking on the chat. He wants to become a modeler, and he's wondering how you get an intern for any studio. At LucasArts, we had a Jedi intern program, which you had to apply for, and then we reviewed all the portfolios, and we interviewed either locally or via Skype the possible students that we would bring in to be interns. I don't know how other studios do it, but I'm sure they go through some similar review for the review process. They'll look at your portfolio, and if you are in a CG school right now, they're probably making you do like one of everything pretty much. Like they're making you do your rig, your turntable, your 3D model. More than likely, your silly damn car with a reflective surface on it for absolutely no reason at all. I can't stand when I see that shit on portfolios. I'm sorry. So yeah, I mean, they'll have you do all those things, and I don't think that's the best way to do a portfolio for an intern or anyone coming out of school. I mean, you should really specialize in one thing that you want to do and you want to go for. Having all those things in your portfolio are good for, for showing that you can, a little bit of how everything works together, but that doesn't make a strong portfolio for you, doesn't showcase what you're actually going to be doing. That's more like a secondary thing that how everything works together, so, in case you need to fix something or talk to somebody about something, you can fix those other areas, like edge loops for riggers, for example, right? But I mean, that shouldn't be your area of that should just be default, that shouldn't be a huge chunk of your portfolio like the schools will have you do. So yeah, I mean, my advice is to concentrate on one area that you really want to focus on, that you really want to do as a job, whether it's concept art or, in your case, 3D modeling, and show a lot of 3D models, show a lot of edge loops, show that you understand edge flows and volume and creativeness when you're modeling something. Don't model what everybody else is modeling. And model difficult things, model things that are out of the usual, things that will be difficult and will actually have a chance of infusing character into a character. Like you guys are character artists, so give characters character. Most people go for default stuff, for shoulders and all this, like, give it some history. Like, you know, like maybe these horns, maybe one of them got ripped in half because he took it, you know, during the fight of, you know, with the dragon that he took it from. So maybe we'll actually bust one of these horns off, you know. So that's one great example of adding character into your character. So yeah, I kind of dragged on there for a bit, but hopefully that answered your question. You're welcome. Bensi suggests bite marks, and yeah, I mean, bite marks would be awesome. You know, if you're making like a gauntlet arm, maybe you can have huge, like a chunk piece of it missing that got bitten down, or half of it got burnt off during a fight. You know, things like that. You know, add a bit of history into your models, guys. So that's what I try to do with my Dota 2 models. You know, add a use to those items. You know, don't just make nice little armor pieces, you know, because then it's just another armor piece. And what's the point of that? Save our scene before we crash or got. Jira says that he was gonna melt the shield on the front and to get out of his head. No, that's a good idea. Good idea. This is 48 polygons and this guy's 29 polygons. I think I'm gonna duplicate this guy and bring it into the front. And then delete some of the edges, because I'm liking the shape that we have on the other guy. And then we'll just take away some of the polygons and kind of like shrink it a little bit and mess around with the scale to make it a bit different. Ah, that edge mode. There we go. There's our before. New one, or 48 polys. Take away some polygons that we don't need. Oops, those two. Let's try and get closer to that. What is he? 30 polys? We're at 44. Looking too bad. Maybe we can actually take some of these. And then we just cut across. Just left. Then we're gonna make this one a bit straighter, not as angled as the other guy, for diversity reasons. I'll leave those edges. We don't need those. Down to 42 polygons and 30, so we added about 10 polygons to it, but that's okay. We'll just keep this guy and we'll keep this guy, and if we need to, we can delete polygons later. But we have a nice shape that we're happy with for now. And we have them right on the edge. Great. Hey guys, welcome new people that just joined the channel. We're watching Jura Knight, community member Jura Knight's Dragon Knight set. Damn, that's a tongue twister. We're helping him fix some of the edge loops and tutor him a little bit on how to fix some of the volume issues that he was having with his mesh before. So we're gonna help him try and fix it and hopefully get a little bit shape out of his model and help him get into the workshop, to the Steam workshop, from the LiveWorkshop. This program is Softimage, formerly known as XSI. So yeah, we're helping the community today, guys. This is Community Day on the stream. And I think it's something really helpful, so maybe I'll make this, once I get a schedule set up for the LiveWorkshop, maybe one day of the week we'll dedicate it to Community Day, and we'll grab a model from the community that wants their model tweaked a little bit, and maybe some suggestions, you know, done live for everybody to learn. What do you guys think about that? How do you contact me if you would like my help? It's really easy. Go to liveworkshop.com is the website, and there you can see all the past broadcasts from this stream, and you can also find some tutorials, some premium tutorials, some free tutorials, some featured models in 3D viewport form for Dota 2, for Team Fortress 2 eventually. And yeah, you can jump on the forums too and ask some questions there, and I'll make my best to answer all the posts that you guys put up there. And if you post a model on the forums, that'll be your way of possibly getting your model onto a stream and getting tutored live, just like we're doing right now for Jura. Oh yeah, now we're getting a really nice curve here. This angle, which is close to the game angle. It's an important one. What do you think, Jira? You're liking this shape we have going? You're rocking up server rewards. Could I speak about where I've worked before and my past experiences? Yeah, sure. I started working off contract for Valve Software back in 1998, I think it was, after making a mod for Half-Life 1. The mod was called Existence Half-Life. And after that, after working for them for I think 8 months or so, I got an in-house gig at Digital Extremes working on Unreal Tournament and other games. I was there for 5 years, and after those 5 years, I then got a job at Lucasfilm, and I was there for the past 7 years, and I was a lead character artist there. Worked on titles like Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. Hey VGFX, you know my work? You're saying you worked with some old co-workers of mine from Lucas? And you loved my Starkiller sculpt? Oh, thanks man, I appreciate the kind words, dude. Means a lot. put a lot of time into that Star Killer model. Well, all of them. I made quite a few different models for Star Killer. A lot of different costumes. Every time you went to a new planet, he got a new costume. Those were really fun to work on. Do I have any school degrees, or is that not important? Somebody's asking on the chat. I have... I get this question quite a bit too. I have a... what is it? I have a certificate from Canada from an art school, which is a 1-year certificate. And I just got a job. You know, I kind of like dropped out of school after that 1 year because it was an art fundamentals course. And it was just classical art pretty much. And I wanted to do, you know, digital art at that point. So I dropped out and I learned all the 3D stuff on my own, and I made a mod out of for Half-Life 1. And then after that I got the contract work that I was telling you guys about with Valve. And I actually, after that, I worked for Digital Extremes, like I said. And then when it was time for me to go to LucasArts, the visa stuff was what required me to have more papers and more degrees. Because they don't care about your portfolio, you know, they care about, you know, the government will only care about the diploma stuff, which translates to every year in school equals 4 years of work experience, which is crazy to me. It doesn't make any sense, but that's how they see it. So with my experience and my 1-year certificate, I was short of getting the visa. So I needed to go back to school if I wanted to go to the States and work at Lucasfilm. So I talked to a school in Toronto, and I got into a 2-year advanced diploma course, which I did in 6 months. And after those 6 months, I got my visa and I went to work for LucasArts. So, to answer your question, if you're already in the country where you want to work, diplomas are not very important. The most important thing for that we look at, or that we looked at LucasArts when I was interviewing possible candidates for jobs, was number one, their portfolio. You know, how talented is this guy? How creative is he? How well does he know the subject matter that he's applying to, that he'll be working on? You know. Number two, how easy is this guy gonna be to work with? You know, does he listen to constructive criticism? Does he take advice well? Is he creative? You know, does he show some creativeness in his portfolio? You know, like there's two really important things that are quite apart from one another. It's like, you know, there's some super talented ZBrush sculptors out there, and they can model the most perfect human anatomy you've ever seen. But if you can't apply that to a model, you know, in a creative way, and you have to rely on concept art the entire way, you're not gonna be as helpful to all studios, you know, depending on what studio you go to and what kind of game you're working on. So if you go to a studio that's creating some sci-fi elements, you know, obviously like we were in Star Wars, then, you know, creativeness counts for a lot. So yeah, there's that for you. But yeah, if you need a visa and you need to go somewhere, then you're probably gonna need some paperwork, unfortunately. Another good thing about school is that, you know, while you're in school and you have all your mates, you know, working with you, it creates an atmosphere of wanting to get better and compete with them. So that's always important. Don't be afraid to compete in a obviously in a constructive way. But yeah, that atmosphere forces you to work, you know, a lot and work hard. Sometimes some people can't do that by themselves when they're not in school. So if you can't do that, then school will help you, you know, focus and concentrate and do that more than doing it alone. But if you can do it alone, then, you know, all the power to you. What I did. This is Softimage 2011, 64-bit. Alright, I think I spent too much time on these horns, so let's move on. We can give more volume to the back here. So we're gonna grab a proportional. Scale factor here. A little bit. Put back more weight. Maybe before, after, before, after. Before, after. Better. Especially since we're gonna have a bigger horn back here as well. And actually, before we have this huge horn, the biggest horn being in the back, I think it'll work better if we have that second last one being the biggest. And I'll show you why in a second. So let's first make this guy bigger. And we'll make a quick input selection in the middle, so when we scale it, we don't have to refix the entire, all the edge loops at the bottom. Getting a little ball. A little bit. Sure that our edge loops there don't get too square, so we'll bring them in a bit as well. Nice. Strawberry Knight is asking, can you still get hired for 3D jobs if you're not good at 2D but awesome at 3D? The answer is yes. I won't lie, being good at 2D it will be easier for you to get a job, because that means that the team doesn't have to depend on somebody else. You know, if they need somebody to jump in and fix a texture, you know, you can always be helpful and jump in there. The more diverse you are, the better. The better tool you're going to be for that studio. But a lot of studios don't do that. You know, a lot of studios have a kind of like a conveyor belt, you know, kind of setup where this one guy does all the 3D models in ZBrush, this one guy makes the in-game poly version for those models, and then this one guy makes all the textures, and then this other guy makes all the materials, and then you just keep passing one model across, you know, the 4 or 5 people. Epic Games, for example, does that quite a bit. They have a guy that just does the textures, you know. So it is possible, and some AAA studios do that. So if that's something you want to concentrate on, then look for those studios that have that setup in place. Journite's saying that he's gonna add a cape to his model. This is a model that we're fixing up for all the people that are new to the stream right now. We're doing a community day where we're helping improve and fix some of the modeling curves that the community member Journite made for this Dragonite set. So he's saying he's actually gonna have a cape for him that's gonna go around the back here and kind of like maybe tie up with some belts or something, and then go into his in-game cape, because there's bones down here that attach to it. So we'll have the cape come out a little bit, go into those belts, and then right back out. And it's gonna look pretty tight. It's gonna look cool. Especially now we have a pretty good curve going across the model. Check our poly count. 242. We have, what is that? 158 polys to play with. Pretty good. We're gonna duplicate the smaller horn back here. We're gonna add that guy to the... And maybe we'll make it longer, but he's already thinner than our previous bone. That'll make it pretty diverse and add even a stronger curve that we had before. Pretty damn diverse now, guys. I think this is gonna look really cool in game. I think we can make it a little bit bigger to push that shape. Oh yeah, look at that. That's looking like a pretty cool shape. I'd say this is getting a little bit flat from our in-game angle, so let's mess with it a little bit. Point it out the other way. Do the same thing with this guy. We're checking the top view, and right before it, you know, from a lot of angles, it was looking really round. No matter which way you turned it, you know, it didn't look like it was a horn pointing out. So now by checking all the angles and, you know, kind of rotating it here and there, some of the edges and polys and verts, we can see more of a horn in more angles. See that? And at the same time, we're getting that nice, you know, curve. Trying to get a really nice shape. Do the same with this guy. There we go. Let's freeze all our history and save our model. A different name in case we need to back up. Or it crashes or it gets corrupted and God knows what happens. Let's offset this once a little bit because they all seem right now like they're on a line, and I don't like that. It gets too it's too ordinary, you know, to have your spikes all in a row perfectly, right? We just move that out to the side, and I don't know. I think it's gonna make a better shapes. And that gives us more room to move this guy around too. From all the game angles now, you can kind of see that front tooth and the back tooth really stick out. And because we're gonna have a cape behind this guy underneath that shoulder piece, you know, this white bone is really gonna stand out really nice as a silhouette. It's already doing that, so like imagine some red underneath there. We'll just scale this guy up for a little bit. Like that's our cape for now. When we have our cape back there, that bone's really gonna shine. Oops. Alright, so let's look at the chest piece real quick. Quite low poly right now because we were using a lot of polys before, you know, across all these pieces here. Now this edge loop was really expensive. It was that edge loop plus all the sides, you know, all these sides. Plus this edge loop here, yeah, polys. That was on top of another edge loop of polygons. So let's try and add this second guy, this second flap here that you had on there, because it makes a good shape, but you can't see it too much, you know, in game view. So let's see if we can make a little guy, you know, something small that's there. I don't think it needs to be something huge or super high poly. So we'll just duplicate this top guys here, and we'll just move them across. Looks like it's almost just laying on top of it. And we'll rotate it a little bit too. And we'll lift it up in depth. Okay. Then we'll just duplicate this edge here and we'll pull it down and about have it meet with this down here. And at this point you can just put a little bolt, you know, that is attaching there, or continue the edge loop on the texture, or do, you know, all sorts of tricks to kind of hide that. This is actually going to be higher up because we're going to extrude the sides of it in a second. We're actually going to make this part thicker. So it's gonna be open up in the front, and then we're gonna have it kind of like merge into this edge loop back here, because we're getting pretty thin towards the back. So that'll help mimic the fact that it's getting, you know, thinner, and then it'll help accentuate this bone in the back even more. Am I gonna add blood stains to the teeth? Well, that's up to Jirai. I'm just helping him with this model right now. I would say he probably doesn't need blood on the teeth. It's gonna get too much red with all the red underneath it. So I would advise against blood on the teeth. You want those bones to really contrast out against all the red. You know, I'd do like a bit of a blackened, you know, inner close to the gums, with some kind of like cracks going up the teeth, you know, kind of like wood cracks. And then just have a nice gradient of this kind of hue on the tooth, and that will really shine really nice. Game view. Alright, let's get back to this guy back here. So let's extrude down now. This guys. We'll duplicate those edges, pull them down, and we'll extrude globally the x-axis. Oh no, we can't do that. A little. No. Okay, let's do the inside. And we'll isolate so we can see what the heck we're doing. And we're actually gonna delete this piece, which is another word for detach if you're a Maya user. And we'll pull this guy's top of the mesh. Oh, and I messed up because we actually need to bring this guy across just like every time you extrude, polygon gets created on that, so we follow the edge loops a little bit closer. Down. Far down. Meet this edge loop here. And I think we need to pull it closer. Direction. Getting too close to that bone at the bottom. We don't want that. Then we'll grab this guy and we'll extrude it one more time. And get maybe it fleshes together at this point. And then we'll just edge loops again. We've been playing around with the other side and pulling them apart. And there's that polygon that we spoke about. And we delete that sucker. Out. Delete the polygon here. And just merge or just attach those verts together so that we know that they're right on there and they're gonna work together. And at this point, we can just make this guy a single poly since it's gonna go into the mesh anyways. We're just kind of like hide it in there, little cubby. See that? That's a really nice trick of kind of like just fleshing it into it, and then check it out. We're kind of like following that same curve for that horn. Looking really nice, guys. I think we need to do that with this as well. Hey Broombear, welcome to the stream. Now that we're starting adding this other pad, I think we need to move this guy a little bit in here to give some room to breathe of this new pad that we're making. We're gonna have it flesh into the inside, just like we did the other one. Rotate it a little bit. And I think this will look good if we pull it out just one more time. Then we get this nice little piece out. And then we follow the edge loop. We actually got a better edge loop the second time around there. We're just gonna mimic that. Pretty nice. But not too much, because we want that one to be a little bit higher. We don't want it on the same level, otherwise what's the point? There we go, so see that? We're getting a nice pointy and curvy edge from the front, top, back, the back, and from the side. You always see those curves and those points, you know, all pointing mostly towards the back. We're getting some really, really nice edge loop flow. Check this out. I think if we overlay this guy, it's actually gonna look pretty neat. Instead of following the first one precisely. At the same time, will give us a nice little dark undertone with the ambient occlusion. So that's something you should do too. You know, experiment as you're you know, creating your model. If you started from a concept sheet, don't be afraid to try things out. Sometimes you might get some cooler stuff that, you know, won't actually work, you know, doesn't work in 3D. It will look great on 2D, but once you start modeling it, you'll figure out it's like, hey man, some cooler volumes that I can create with this piece. So why not try it out? You know, it takes like 10 seconds to try it. If it doesn't work, then go back to the 2D model of it, or the 2D concept for it. But it takes no time to try things out in 3D, you know, when you're blocking things out like this. And just like this edge loops down here that we started making way thinner. Go thinner, actually. You know, so then we can bring this guy and make it thin as well. I'm very meticulous about my edges not going in too deep and wasting, you know, that little slit of UV space, because then your UVs can, you know, be that much tighter and get that much more resolution for your texture. So I'm crazy delicate about UV space and doing it right on the model. A good practice to have. Okay. So up here, because we're going to go into a flat area, we're going to grab these two verts and we're going to merge them. We don't need all those extra polygons there. So, you know, this little triangle, we're going to have a little bit of extra space there being wasted on the UV, but the extra polygon is going to be more important in this case. So you can do that stuff sometimes, but not all the time. It's looking pretty clean. This area looks a little odd. That edge is coming out Actually want to push that guy right back. This guy. Overlap it a bit more. And see, like, oops. See if we're looking in our 2D, we're actually overlapping, you know, this edge with the one underneath to make a little bit more interesting shapes. You know, it doesn't have to overlap, you know, be perfectly straight, you know, all the time. We can actually start this point a little bit sooner than we're doing it right now. I think it'll look better. Let's try it out. If it doesn't, we'll put it back. But I have a feeling that'll be better. I think it's better. So yeah, this is Juranite's model from the LiveWorkshop forum community. Today we're helping him out with some model tweaks and some edge loop fixes. And he'll you know, finish it up, he'll finish the model up and UV it and texture it and do everything else. We're just helping him out today, this community day stream. So he can add all the teeth marks and burnt marks and all the battle damage, you know, that maybe happened when he fought the last dragon he played. That'll be neat to see in the texture. The one thing that we're doing too is we're kind of contrasting, you know, all these pointy edges that we have on the model, you know, all these nice curves and pointy edges. We're starting it with a flat area on the front instead of having that pointy as well. You know, it kind of like frames the character a little bit better. You know, instead of having everything pointy, you know, it gives you a starting point, and it kind of like helps the flow of all these curves that we're creating run a little bit easier. You know, the eye is able to follow it better instead of having pointy things going all over the place. You know, getting a starting point is really nice. Nice thing to have. So now if we look at this guy from the front, which we'll be seeing in, you know, the avatar form, you know, probably around, whoops, the avatar probably looks something like that. We're gonna see, we probably won't see the edges of this guy, but I'm thinking maybe having a better angle, you know, going across this way rather than having this flat area might be something that will work out for us. So let's just try it real quick. I think it's gonna cast a really nice kind of shadow and fill in, like frame in those horns a little bit better. What do you think, Jirai? I think it's a good call. Slight delay on the chat, so wait and see what you think. This is his model. We're just giving him a hand. Community Tutor Day today on LiveWorkshop.com. If you haven't checked out the website, make sure you drop by, guys. LiveWorkshop.com. Check out our past broadcasts, our tutorials. Help the community grow. fix the flow of some of these edge loops. Since we kind of like curved it, so we turned some of those edges. We're just fixing it up so they run in the right direction. That's better. I think Dota will triangulate the mesh when it goes in, but every engine will turn the edges to its own discretion. So if there's an area where you think the edge might go the wrong way, just draw it in yourself, you know, and save yourself the hassle of letting the engine decide for it. I think we need to get a little thicker on this edge. Maybe. Try it. I think that works. Sure that there's no polys underneath there, so we don't waste our poly count. Speaking of poly count, let's check what we're at right now. 338 polygons. Oh no, wait, the chess piece. 356 polygons, so we're still under the poly count limit, but we haven't drawn in the inside of quite a few of these pieces actually. So we might need to lower the poly count, but let's fill those areas in first and then see where we're at. So let's fill that stuff in. Let's hide our rest of our model, and then we'll grab from this edge, actually from this edge to this edge, and we'll duplicate and pull them down. Just like that, and then scale them in because they need to go in so you actually see them, and then we're gonna pull them this way a bit more so you actually see them, you know, one more time, because otherwise they would get hidden by the model. So you want to create some kind of thickness to it, and that thickness we'll probably want to pull back a little bit, and then we start fixing it manually, you know, one edge at a time. Actually, at this point you can actually scale downwards on the y-axis, because it flattens things out. See how it's flattening it all into like one line if you keep going all the way? So we're just gonna flatten it so that it follows the top of the shoulders a little bit more. And then we can start fixing the mesh, you know, doing things like welding verts, because this area you won't see it that much, and more than likely you want to paint this really dark, you know, with the gradient going into lighter, so you kind of like pull away these 12 pieces, and at the same time you make that helmet stick out. So in the texture you're gonna want to darken those areas down here. And because it's dark and you're not gonna see it, we're gonna lower the poly count on that area. So we'll start merging stuff like crazy. You know, it might look way too low poly, but it's not gonna matter. You won't see it. Don't spend polygons on it. Just like I was telling Jurai, you know, he started adding this back piece to the helmet, and it's a great idea because I mean you should cover it up, but you have too many edge loops on there right now, and you're not gonna see them in game. See, like you see the bottom piece of it in game. And in avatar view, you'll never see it. You'll never see the back of his head. But this is what you're going to be seeing in game. So you can pretty much delete most of these or merge them. And what I suggest you do too is grab half of your model and delete it. Just work on one half. And if you really want to see the other side, then you instance it and then mirror it, and then you start seeing it, you know, on both sides. Actually, let's do that right now. We're going to go into our model, create a new model out of it, which is just basically creating a folder for it. And we'll call it helmet. Okay, so now when we go to our tree here, we're gonna right click that and we're gonna instantiate model. We create an instance of that model for us, and we want to mirror it because it's just sitting on top of it right now on the x-axis. We'll do a -1, and there it is. Oh crap. Let's go back a little bit, and we didn't freeze our controls, so it's not dead center in the middle. Hopefully Jurai model is in the center. Jurai, you're not in the middle. but you're not in the middle because their mesh is not in the middle either, unless you imported the stuff not in the middle. Yeah, see, like this is this line is the middle of the model, and this is the 0 line. So I don't know if Jurai moved it or if they actually exported this not at 0, 0, 0 with the Valve model. So, I wonder. Well, in either case, we'll just instantiate it with -1, and then we'll just move that across just for the hell of it. Jurai can figure that shit out when he exports it. Not my problem. Let's see, now that we're working on this guy, we start messing around with one side, and we see exactly the same happening to the other side. And let's give this our nice red shade. Bam. Oops. Jirai's like, I swear I imported to the middle. So I don't know, either you moved it out or they had it in the wrong spot. I think Jirai. Alright. So we're talking about this guy's down here. We're gonna grab these birds. Ah, freak hell, I don't know what happened. I think it reopened that because we saved it. I save a lot. Ah. Shortcut going on. Like. Right, whatever. Alright, so let's see. We're talking about the polygons that you can see. You can see that. Don't need that either. The lower poly. These are way too many. But where are you gonna see them, you know? This guy we can probably pull over here. This guy we'll put over there. And you're getting way too deep in there. You don't want to see ever that deep in there. Kind of close it off a lot. Yeah. Then this top piece we're gonna have to edit and fix some of the volumes for that guy as well. Getting pretty angular right now. Jurai or somebody on the chat, can you guys check what the poly count limit is for the helmet? For LOD, give me LOD 0, because this is actually going to be important, because you're going to see this helmet in the avatar view really closely. So let's work our main model on LOD 0, and then we'll do the LOD 1 for in-game afterwards. But for these shoulder guys, I don't think we need an LOD 0. We're just going to do LOD 1. Don't spend time doing stuff where, you know, you're not really going to benefit from the polygons. So Jurai is saying that it's 800 for LOD 0 for the helmet, and 550 for the in-game version. And we are at 272 out of 800. Whoa, is that right? Okay, wow, we have a lot of space to play with. So he just started blocking this guy out, obviously, and doesn't have all the edges, you know, extruded in and closed off and all that stuff. So that's gonna add quite a few polygons, especially because we have let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces overlapping each other. And anytime you do overlapping stuff, you're gonna have to do edges, and in some cases the inside part of those models. So this thing is gonna get pretty high poly really fast. So we actually don't want to add too many more polygons to this guy before adding those edges. The extrusion of those edges is gonna get pretty heavy. So I think it's in Jurai started, you know, modeling the base mesh for this guy in the right direction. Maybe some of these guys, maybe an extra edge loop here because of the roundness, you know, you want it to be quite round. It's the highest part of the model, the closest thing to the camera you'll ever see, so you want to spend most of your polygons in this top area. Just looking at this now, I think it'd be kind of nice to have this straight line kind of like follow, you know, the helmet that we have up here going on. Create something nice. You know, Oh yeah, that makes a really nice shape. Keep it. Then check your edge, all the angles, make sure that you're still getting a really nice curve and those edges are still creating the nice roundness that we started with. Alright, nice shape. Nice. Alright, let's continue closing off the model. You see, before we have this this armor piece, and it went, you know, all the way underneath. So there's two things we can do. We can either, you know, delete those pieces and just have this guy, you know, go into the default mesh, and we save some polygons, or we grab those guys and we bring them in and we cut away the rest of it. Just like that. So, just looking at this, it doesn't seem like we're adding, you know, that many more polygons. I mean, it's gonna be an extra, we probably need another edge actually. We're just adding 6 polygons, you know, having this piece on here. And I don't know what color this is under here, I'm guessing it's some sort of gray for the armor that he has. So having a little extra little slice of polygons there to control the colors that we want to be there is probably worth it. So let's keep it. And then we'll just make sure that we're following our edge flow. You know, and we can collide into some of them, it's not a big deal. It is a gray underneath there, Jirai. He's saying on the chat, yeah. So yeah, having this edge loop here is gonna do great stuff for us. So we can control what we want there. You know, you can if you go in ZBrush, you can model some detail, and there's some chainmail. You know, painted red, whatever you want. Get the option. I think back here we won't have it go all the way. Maybe we want to show, you know, his back a little bit. But we want to show a bit of gray back here, and what I suggest for Jirai Knight to do, because this is his model, we're just helping me out today on the community stream day, is to start the cape down here and kind of like have it hang pretty low with a loop. So you get a nice, you know, his armor to show up, some space, then the cape starts and, you know, makes a little bit of a bulge back here, and it goes into the belt, and then right back out into his bones that he's got back there for the animated cloth to swing around. But that will give you some really nice contrast across the model. It'll be way more interesting than if you just did the cape, you know, all the way from the top to the bottom. So, my suggestion, Jirai, do what you will. And this guy, I think we're gonna end it. Pretty soon. We're just gonna have it kind of go into the back here somewhere. Actually, we have to bring this guy up. Edge loops are not cooperating, so we're gonna bring this guy up here. Then we're gonna make a triangle here. Cut this. That vert back up. Make that a hard edge by pulling it in. And I'm just, right now I'm just picking a better edge loop that creates less jaggies, you know, going across these models. So attaching that vert to that edge loop there, and then pulling this guy somewhere around here, and maybe this guy there. And then connecting that guy to this little edge loop down here creates a nice little hiding spot for the rest of our armor. Maybe make it a little thicker over here. There we go. Ah, come on, add another edge loop here, guys. Being a little greedy. But I think that those verts sticking out are gonna look better. Delete these guys because you will never see them. Bring this vert up here so that it connects. Because the chest piece and the shoulder piece are actually going to be all one piece. There's no chest piece item for Dragon Knight. Jura Knight was telling me. So we're gonna merge all these guys and we'll have them. He's gonna have a tough time rigging this, to be honest. Nah. I think his left arm will, well, both his arms will kind of like clip a little bit through the shoulder piece, but you know he's got quite a bit of room to play with. So even if he clips a little bit in some animations, it's okay. It's not frowned upon. Good example of this is take a look at Metal Gear Solid. All the versions of that game, they clip like crazy, but the shape of the model is way more important. So that's where the importance lies. Okay. So what we want to do with this bottom piece here, see, like it looks pretty good from the front view, which is what Jura was probably modeling this piece as. We wanted to follow the shape of the helmet a little bit more. We're gonna push that across our model, and we're not gonna close it up. We'll just let the game show, you know, self shadow over there. We're gonna follow the shape of the helmet a little bit more. We'll add an edge loop over here and move it forward towards the center. Then we'll pull it out. We'll see. Gonna have a nicer shape coming out of this guy. Kind of mimics the helmet shape when you look at it from top. But it makes you look at that helmet more, you know, it makes it stand out. We don't want to hide it. We want to accentuate those shapes. You know, we want to bring them out. We want the eye to pay attention to them. Accentuate. That's, thank you. Awesome English. Alright. And we can make this stand out more too if we want. You know, because we have this overlapping pieces up here on the helmet, so why not do it with the chest piece that we have here? I think this overlap's a little aggressive. I think. Okay. Are these colors, are these grays underneath here as well, Jirai? So this is gray, you're saying, and then this is black? Yes, okay. We have a gray and a black with our red armor up here, I'm guessing. This is gonna be red too, right, Jerry? You want this red? Yep, okay. So, I would suggest we actually duplicate this piece and create this double layer effect that is consistent across our model. You know, so we have this kind of like layering on top of layering. You know, we have this layering on top of layering. You know, we have layer, layer, layer. So we want to repeat some of these elements, bring them all together. Professional way. So let's finish off actually creating the under armor piece of this guy. And we're gonna cut the model so that we follow the edge loops nice and evenly. Got it. Yeah. Got that little piece. Kind of a neat little hard edge there that it's kind of pointing towards the helmet. You know, it's contrasting some of these loops that are all going the same direction, and at the same time it's going, you know, it's creating another flat edge with our flat edge at the beginning. So it's kind of like helping us get the eye flow to start here for sure, you know, with this contrasts, because it's different than every other edge that's going in every other direction. So contrasting this area is actually really helping us. Let's contrast it even more than it is right now. Pretty happy how this is turning out. Some happy accidents happening as we're sculpting. You know, we're getting some flat edges that then lead into this really nice round pieces. We have flat edge, and then the flat edge of the helmet, and then they all kind of like flow together towards the back, just like the helmet will. You see, and we're starting to get nice layer, even though these pieces aren't from the same item. They all start working together really nice. Because we did that, we're pull that guy quite far out there. Gonna have to add let's take and then a straight line. Pull this guy speed up into the map. Very nice. Then we can duplicate this guy and pull that guy in. And we can make that guy go deeper in, so we get a nice shadow out of that guy. Then we add that, whoops, bridge. Leave those other edges. Get in the way. Sculpting. Alright. Maybe we'll even make this guy a little bit flatter. You know, to kind of like mimic this hard square edges that we have at the start. Very nice. Continue on. Rest of this. Those edge loops follow each other. This is where it starts getting a little bit round. So that volume, we have that volume here for when Jura and I rigs this, so that it doesn't clip a crazy amount, you know, so we'll pull those guys out a little bit, give them some room to breathe. And especially because we're not a second layer under here to, you know, create our layering style that we're going with for this. Oh yeah, that helmet's really popping in now. Volvo Max is asking where he watched my last tutorial was for the intestines, I guess, or like some of the pudge, insanity set pudge items. Is that correct, Volvo? Is that what you're asking about? The mask 1 and mask 2 materials for them? Yes. So I did cover some of the masking for those guys. I think I covered the masking for the intestines, and I didn't cover the masking for I think the hook, because the hook is just basically using a specular, and then all the other masks are using the same kind of material that was there before for the current in-game default hook. So if you open up the default hook, you can see the kind of settings that they use for those masks for the regular Pudge. So I just stuck with those, and then I just fixed up my own specular and, you know, added the extra blood that will mask things out here and there. But they had a pretty good metal feel for the regular hook, because they wanted to really stand out to the rest of the fleshiness that Pudge is. So there was some contrast there, is what they were going for. So I kept that in there as default. Or at least, you know, the settings for that material. So take a look at those. If they work for you, great. If not, start tweaking them and, you know, get it to look how you want it to look. But they usually have a pretty good start. They have some really good artists at Valve. Great talented guys and really nice guys. I think I'm gonna make this edge even straighter than we had it before, because we're getting some really neat angles from the game view. See that it's kind of like opening up, you know, the chest and making that chest really kind of like pop out, because this is gonna be rounder and this is gonna be hard edge and straight. So we're gonna get a really nice shape out of this. You know, the rounder we make it. Maybe getting a little low. Let's make the piece that gonna go together with this guy. And I'm just gonna like mimic what the regular armor for Dragon Knight is doing it, because we're not gonna completely hide these guys, you know. We're just gonna have the top two layers on top. We're gonna follow the same shape that's already there. Maybe add a bit more polygons to it. Actually, we should check our poly count. You know, always keep checking your poly count as you're modeling. Sometimes you lose. You're like, oh man, I have tons of room to play with. And then so once you start adding all these edges, you know, and start extruding things to cover, you know, to close them off, you're gonna run out of polygons pretty fast. Let's check our poly count. Grab all our assets, and we're at 391. So we're already over, because we're gonna try and close some of these guys off, and that's gonna be more than 9 polygons. So let's start reducing our poly count on our model, guys. Hey guys, to all the influx of people that just joined the chat, welcome to the live workshop. Today we're doing a community stream where we're grabbing community member Jura Knight's model. He's making a Dragon Knight set, and he posted it on the LiveWorkshop.com forums, and he wanted some feedback. So we're starting a community member tutoring day. So this is the first tutoring day, and we're helping him out with his model. So we're fixing some edges, some edge flow stuff, and hopefully everybody else can learn and help get their items into the game. So we started with this mesh here that has, you know, some cool design elements like this scales and horns going towards the back of these huge shoulder pieces. Some nice overlapping features that are the style of the rest of the model. You know, we have this style going of repeating, overlapping armor pieces. So we're just going through, and we're kind of giving them more of a style and a better shape and better edge loops. So yeah, make sure you drop by the website, guys, and make sure to follow us on this channel too. The more viewers we get, we can have more options for you guys, like lower resolution stream, and for people that have lower end computers and all that fun stuff. So help us out. Make sure you follow us and subscribe. Yeah, I think we just got an even better little curve there going out of that.